Folks, last but not least, we've got the ArtCenter College of Design and their project, which is called Mobilizing LA's Transportation Future. The project envisions a futuristic design of transportation system that actually reimagines city spaces, saves energy, and eliminates traffic. So that sounds awesome. Julia Amarisano is here today. She, along with Lucian Rosca, are the team leads, and we're eager to see the future without traffic. So Julia, take it away for us.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you to all the organizer for creating this incredible platform of exchange. It's been a very instructive morning today. My name is Julia Moresano. I'm an adjunct assistant professor at ArtCenter College of Design in the Graduate Transportation System and Design program. And together with my colleague, Lucian Rosca, who is a professor in the program, we've been designing and leading the studio, which is called Urban Form, from which the project that you're going to listen to really emerged from. Pretty much in unison with the ethos of the program overall, we challenge our students to think of themselves as transportation designers that have a very holistic outlook and approach to thinking about how to ameliorate our society and the way we move. We articulate the way we move as something that is affected and affects different things, from the way we live, the way in which we inhabit, the way in which we interact with one another, we interact with technology, and we interact with nature. The studio has asked the students to actually design a vision for 2050 for the LA metro area by thinking about how the future of transportation can change the way we can better appreciate our planet. Lucian and myself have coordinated the studio, which is 2 terms long, so the students are at the end of the journey. What you're going to see in the project itself is really the product of our amazing graduate students. So Lakshmi, Anna, Luke, and Aravind have worked very hard throughout these 2 terms to think about really thinking about what will be the future of the LA metropolitan area. And I don't want to steal more time from them, so they will also be in charge of responding to your question. So Aravind, why don't you go ahead and share the screen? And we are very, very excited to hear the feedback and your questions at the end. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the LA 2050 Mobility Vision. The goal of this project was to design a far future vision, a transportation system for the LA metro area for the year 2050. We are not designing where every tree goes or where every building goes. We are not vehicle designers. That's not why we are here, and that's not what this project is about. This system imagines new ways for people to move, interact, and live. Our project is ambitious and complex. It is aspirational, but goal-oriented. Our research took us all over Los Angeles, Inglewood, downtown, Leimert Park, Venice, the Arts District, Westwood, and Exposition Park. We experienced firsthand how unique and diverse the city is. We found that imagining a better future for LA does not lie in understanding how parts of the city are different, but how they all share the same problem. That problem is a car-centric culture, with built environments completely dictated by the car. The unintended consequences are everywhere, and it's clear to us that a system of any kind should not be dominated by one player. Access to a car, which originally promised freedom for all, has over time become increasingly tied to wealth and not accessible by all. Therefore, through mobility, our vision decouples freedom from wealth. Our vision takes back assets previously owned by the car and gives them back to the public. Our vision shows how a transportation system that prioritizes health, sustainability, and equitable access completely changes the space that supports it. City plans for the 2028 Olympic Games and LA Metro's 28 by 28 Transportation Infrastructure Initiative inspired us to leverage, augment, and amplify strategies to reduce congestion and car use. But not just in anticipation of the Games, but far into the future. The LA 2050 Mobility System Vision reimagines movement through 5 components that directly address major mobility problems in LA. The first component addresses car-dominant freeways by repurposing infrastructure in the form of accessways. The second component addresses public transit decline by introducing flexibility to mass transit with Connect LA. The third component addresses hostile streets to pedestrians by localizing movement through slow mobility. The fourth component addresses the high cost of ownership by co-locating mobility with housing via flex flats. And the final component addresses paving over nature by rewilding along the LA River by way of the river corridor. The first component is called accessways. This component democratizes access to LA's largest transportation asset by repurposing freeways from a private car resource to a high-speed, fully autonomous public transit system. Freeways are closed transit corridors, separated from pedestrian traffic. It is the ideal scenario for a high-speed autonomous system run by clean energy. Today, many freeways have a carpool lane, but many do not. By 2028, the Vision Plan adds to every LA freeway not just one carpool lane, but 2. This facilitates expanding the utility of the freeway to include rapid express bus service. It also encourages people to trip share and opt for more sustainable ways of moving. By 2050, all freeway lanes will be used by fast-moving autonomous public transit vehicles. This allows for movement across LA without the need of a car. A vital feature of accessways are ramps. Ramps connect high-speed public transit to communities. Micromobility hubs are situated there. Informal businesses set up there, and people gather and socialize. Accessways provide high-speed, fully autonomous public transit. The next component connects LA through an on-demand public transit service. Connect LA is an on-demand service that expands on Metro Micro. It adapts to people's travel patterns and efficiently uses parking lots and other spaces lost to cars. It operates on a capacity on-demand model. Consider parking spaces used by 25 people. Most of them drive alone. This is a waste of space. Connect LA uses existing parking structures and parking lots as hubs where vehicles wait for trips. The system provides capacity-appropriate vehicles. If 2 people are traveling, a 2-seater is provided. If several people are traveling, a larger vehicle is provided. By 2035, as more people use the service, traditional parking spaces are used with maximum efficiency. Excess parking can be repurposed to create pedestrian spaces or for residential buildings. The 2035 internal combustion engine vehicle ban will serve as an opportunity for automotive manufacturers to enter the public transportation realm by designing new autonomous mobility devices. By 2050, the system becomes flexible. By using technology, the system recognizes places with transportation demand and adapts to it by placing hubs where they are needed. The LA 2050 Mobility Vision System so far has reimagined high-speed and on-demand public transportation. This component rethinks local mobility. A shift to slow-moving devices activates social interaction and initiates a human-scale built environment transformation. By examining flexible transportation systems all over the world, such as the taxi and the tuk-tuk, we set out to incorporate technology with the informality of bodily movement. Vehicles can be hailed by simply waving a hand toward the vehicle. AI is used to preserve the spontaneity of the street while reducing interaction with digital devices. Slow mobility devices become the preferred mode of travel for local trips like going to the store, school, work, and running errands. As previously stated, the 28 by 2028 initiative incentivizes Angelenos to reduce their car use when traveling to Olympic events. Leveraging this allowed us to redefine what local streets are. The exercise of imagining new ways to get to Olympic venues inspired us to envision a new interpretation of streets and how people move and interact. Pedestrian traffic encourages mobile food vendors to populate the area, making the space vibrant and alive with activity. This new use of space facilitates new business opportunities for micromobility service providers. The slow and local mobility market segment has the potential to create new and personal ways for companies to serve and relate to people and their communities. In 2050, the street evolves into an environment where pedestrians own the streets, encouraging a low-speed organic movement ecosystem. What we call streets today becomes a true public space, available for residents to use according to their own needs. Residential streets are shaped by morphology and human flows. As local movement changes, new ways to live are facilitated. Flex Flats is an extension of the Uber platform. The service combines mobility with housing. It addresses first and last mile problems and the housing crisis in LA. The vast majority of LA County's population live within 3 miles of a rail station or bus stop, but with no way to get there. And for most Angelenos, owning a home is out of reach. Flex Flats is a public-private venture which makes Uber not only a mobility provider, but a housing provider. Each Flex Flat is a micro-mobility hub which generates a revenue stream. Through cooperative ownership, residents share in profit, have a say in how they live, and collectively, through the community, have real political power. Additional revenue is generated through a mobility subscription service open to the general public. In 2022, Flex Flats leverage adaptive reuse by repurposing parking lots or abandoned buildings. By 2028, the ground floor of every Flex Flat is a dynamic space. A variety of vehicles are for use on demand through a seamless user experience. No reservations, no per-trip payments, and no waiting. In 2050, the mobility hub is flexible and conducive to socializing. Informal business is attracted here, and the space is a kind of town square for the community. Mobility devices support individuals, larger groups, people with special needs, the elderly, and children. The first Flex Flats are located in vibrant urban areas and are not geographically isolated. They're situated in close proximity to public transit, schools, and essential services. This is done to provide people with a first and last mile solution and encourages the use of public transit. As adaptive reuse sites and communities in need are identified, the network of Flex Flats expands throughout the city. Each Flex Flat is a micromobility hub. With each new location, the platform grows in surface area. By 2035, Flex Flats may be located in transit deserts. The network will be so robust and extensive, it will attract public transit extensions and attract new industry. And then ultimately, Flex Flats attract essential services like hospitals and schools. We have seen how the LA 2050 Mobility Vision System rethinks the way people move and live in LA. But the vision would not be complete without addressing how mobility can facilitate the way we coexist with nature. This component activates the LA River by prioritizing walking as a mode for commuting. At the same time, it introduces rewilding to create a space for nature to spill over. Here, nature is the catalyst for new mobility and urban development. Car-centric infrastructure of the past affected people in a way that created segregation among communities. This also created problems of environmental justice where only certain communities carried the burden. The current climate emergency begs for us to rethink the way we move. Walking is the most natural form of commuting, and more spaces need to be dedicated to it. Currently, the LA River represents a massive untapped resource and is a bleak image of a concrete jungle. By revitalizing the river, a natural asset is given back to the city. The river corridor rethinks the experience of walking in LA by activating the space along the river. Pedestrian commuting invite human interaction and informal businesses. By 2028, the river becomes an active corridor, connecting Olympic venues and turns the 51 miles of the river into a public space, serving communities all along the way. Rewilding efforts eventually remove concrete casing of the channel. Nature is nurtured through a series of habitat development projects. Slowly, nature takes over and humans become the guests. The human-centric corridor activates the space economically by co-locating flex flats and working spaces. This rethinks not only the way we move, but also the way we work and live. Internet becomes a public utility that turns the river into a community asset. Eventually, this system scales up to a model that revives all the natural assets of LA through mobility. We have seen how each component works individually, but how does everything work together? Let's time travel to 2050 and look at a day in the life. Los Angeles has changed dramatically. Daisy lives in a flex flat in Boyle Heights. It's a beautiful Monday morning. She has a work meeting at the river corridor, and then she will go to San Diego for a business trip. She exits her flex flat and surveys the mobility options available to her. Bike, e-bike, scooter, or a slow mobility vehicle. She has luggage, so she decides to take a slow mobility vehicle and departs for the river corridor. It's a slow-moving, open-air experience, quite leisurely. She can see people, and they can see her. There's something free and fun about the journey. She is comfortable, and she feels safe. Along the way, she comes upon a friend. They stop and chat for a while. When Daisy arrives at the river corridor, she disembarks and walks a short distance to the WeWork hub where her meeting is. Along the way, nature is everywhere. A lot of people walking, jogging, and taking active mobility. There are food vendors, mobile pop-up retail shops, and people doing work and having business meetings at various stations along the river. Daisy arrives at the WeWork hub where some of her colleagues are. As they engage in small talk, another colleague joins who walked from his home in Lincoln Heights. The meeting wraps up, and it's time to go to San Diego. The whole team is going, so Daisy books a large Connect LA vehicle with extra capacity to share the trip and share the cost. Connect LA arrives within a few minutes. Everyone boards and the vehicle departs. The system connects the group to Pablo, who is further down the river corridor and going in the same direction. They pick up Pablo and proceed to the nearest accessway stop. The accessway ramp is full of life, and in the upper platform, vehicles are efficiently picking up and dropping off people. Mobility Vision 2050 as a holistic system provides every Los Angeles resident with real mobility freedom and choice. By imagining new ways of moving, new ways of living, working, and interacting are activated.
Wow, beautiful. Thanks, guys. Amazing view of the future there. I know, Alex, I know you have to run, so just if you have a quick comment before you go, that would be great.
Actually, I'll ask a quick question. I would just love to see what you think is the biggest obstacle that needs to be overcome to make this vision a reality.
Students?
I guess I answered that. Hello, my name is Sinea, first of all. So I think the vision in a certain way is trying to put into conversation many of the things rather than only like imposing or trying to propose a way to do things. So that's one thing. And as we had in that last final slide, I think the first thing we think is necessary is to start creating some sort of dialogue between public and private institutions in order to achieve certain steps.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Alex, for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Mark and Rodrigo, let's jump to you before we start to wrap up.
Okay. Yes, my comment or question. There's currently a plan called Connect SoCal, created by the Southern California Association of Governments, and it's a combined transportation and sustainable communities strategy. It's currently has a time horizon of the year 2045, but it's being updated to 2050. So I guess my question or comment is, it will be really important to engage with that because that has both federal and state authorization as an official plan. You know, I suspect that some of what you're suggesting they may be open to, but I think you're being a good deal more imaginative than most of what they're doing.
No, that's a great comment. And actually, in our final slide, which Ervin had up briefly, that's sort of where we are in terms of next steps, engaging with organizations such as the one you just cited, also LA County Sustainability Plan, various communities, and then you saw flashed up there for a moment, also various private and commercial entities too, to sort of get some feedback on proof of concept and potential viabilities of some of the ideas.
All right, Rodrigo.
Yeah, a lot of really exciting big vision. And what do you, maybe the students who are on, think of as a potential first, you know, most near-term exciting test project that we might see before 2050?
I think the way this vision was designed is for all these components to initiate together before the start of the Olympics, so that we can use the LA 28 Olympics as the perfect opportunity to like initiate this shift towards a non-car centric future. So these components would start in various pilot locations and work together and form this vision.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for your time today. And thank you to the team at ArtCenter for this incredible work.